There. I look a state again, don't I? I suppose it becomes prerequisite with a mental health disorder, no matter how anal we are or can be about appearance. But that's where I am. So lots going on, and my mental health is doing its absolute best, and I'm going to try and keep this video light. I'll probably end it if it gets depressing. It's not going to help me at present. So yeah, I'm going to try and stay focused to that, so you shouldn't need to worry too much as if I'm talking about my life, it can be heard depressing. Yeah, basically I'm trying to get on with things, and my mental health has it's been playing games with pain for a little while now. Well, I'm in pain all the time, so mental health probably wants some attention because the pain's getting so much attention. He's jumped on board and said, oh, if we play games with pain, we can get their attention back. Pain wins, my mental health disorder wins. I lose. But no, it's not the point. What I'm trying to get at is I'm here, and I can see this massive amount of pain coming from my leg or hip, just building and building, and it's real, intolerable pain. But given the nature of my mental health, given the nature of the pain in my body, as I said before, I've got a problem with my pain threshold barrier. It creates a circumstance whereby it's like, the way I can describe it, it's like my mental health plays a game like, does he know, doesn't he know? Does he admit he knows? Does he admit he doesn't know? Essentially it plays that game because what it does, it puts me in a state of paralysis to action. And in a state of paralysis to action, it just takes control and does what it wants. And because this problem with pain is so, one, serious, you can't just go to a doctor and say I'm in pain. You've got to be in pain. And two, with the paralysis, what comes is basically a state where if I'm not on the ball, I can go off in tangents, as to what's real. And at the moment, I'm experiencing massive amounts of pain, but because my mental health is playing this game, even with conscious intent, I can't get over it. It's like I have to be alert. I have to know. So where it tries to play this game and it creates a state of paralysis, it does. Even if I'm alert to it, if it's over a serious subject matter, and that serious subject matter deserves thought and demands thought, and it needs thought regardless, then there's nothing that can be done. You have to think about it, and in that thinking you're losing time. In that time of thinking, things are getting worse, and that's what's going on with the pain at the moment. Every so often my mental health will be like, it'll show me this massive amount of pain in my left hip and my left leg, my left side, and it goes, is it pain, Andreas? I'm like, fucking hell, what do you mean is it pain? I'm surprised I'm not ripping my fucking hair out. And that's the sort of place I've been in, and it's done that to me time after time after time. And I'm just trying to try a different tack because I'm losing the battle. NHS aren't helping myself that anytime soon something's going to go ping. Some sort of tendon, some sort of bone, some sort of, I don't know, something important because it hurts in the first instance. And that's where I'm at. And the truth is, because of my symptoms with my mental health disorder, whereby I shout and make a lot of noise, there's a lot of pressure on me, and there's a lot of pressure I put on myself to be quiet. I need to be quiet, because if I can be quiet and get the quietness in check, I might have a chance of life, or something that resembles it. So where I'm playing this game and I'm losing, and today I can see it there in the background. It's not so prominent. It's not like in my face. Andreas, are you in pain? What's going on, Andreas? No. It's just like, I think it's training me to accept that pain. You know, you do the severe pain, and I know it's hard to hear this, but this is the complexities and the seriousness of life. So if it's too hard to hear on a Monday morning, I appreciate that. Maybe in 4 years' time, when things have progressed, you know, things have hit their head and they're coming to fruition with the elite who have inspired and instilled this coronavirus lie upon us to collect our DNA. That's the point, not to vaccinate this time, it's to collect DNA. That's my suspicion so far. I don't know it to be true. But yeah, in a few years' time, people might be in this position. I might be the early one, because I'm a bit different, aren't I? So it might have value in a few years, that's what I mean. But what it's doing, it's been training me. It's like in each of those moments where I'm paralyzed to the circumstance and I'm in extreme pain, but because of the confusion, it's like somehow I can look at the pain. And I believe that's a possibility for humanity. I believe that's something that's there for us in extreme, serious, pressured environments. When you don't know what to do, it's like a state of confusion. Life gives you a momentary second to just see, to analyze, and somehow it takes that and sticks it in my face with pain. And it's done that time and time again, and it's doing it more and more frequently. And not only is it more and more frequent, when it's not doing it, it's ever more present in the background. So it's like I can see it training me to take this element of pain as normality. And the truth is, as I was saying, with my mental health disorder, with how I am with noise, with where I've been with my life, I'm at the place where I'm listening. It's like I can see that's what it wants, and that's what it's trying to do. And I don't have any fight in me to really steer it another direction. So what I'm doing with this video now is giving it what it wants. I'm saying fine. I hate life. Sorry for that. I know, I appreciate it. I'm not in a good place, and you're doing this to me. I haven't got the energy, so fine, fuck it. I accept, you win. And I'm picking up the live stream, distracting myself, focusing on the external, waiting for the painkillers to kick in, and then let it do what it wants in the background. Horrible circumstance, but at least I'm putting a plan into place to move forward with it. So Can we speak about anything spiritual now? I've given you the context of my life. Spirituality. What is there in spirituality? Well, what I do, I do a light-hearted, serious, depressing one. You see what I mean? And that is the subject matter of conspiracies, but don't judge me too soon. Sorry, I'm tuning into the pain, and there might be something I can do just to alleviate it internally. So that's all I'm trying to do in this second. But yeah, well, what's happening is a lot of the time it's like I don't believe the narrative for coronavirus. I don't believe when it's a pandemic, when it's serious, even if it's a genuine pandemic. You know, if it's a genuine thing, this mouse is mutated with a spider, and they've created, and it's serious, yeah, it's real. It wouldn't make sense for the government to put out truthful information when psychosomatic illness can occur. You don't pump out all the information on what's going on because you don't want to instigate fear, instigate panic, which instigates disease, instigates pardon me while I take my shot for it instigates disease, it instigates fear. And if we're dealing with something that's possibly contagious, which obviously the coronavirus is, I've got an explanation as to why I'm in pain, and I know what I've got to do to get myself back into it, but it's like I need my spirit alivened a little bit, because it takes effort and it's daunting from this perspective. It's going to be another video, but life falls back into place over the past few weeks from the complete oblivion that was there before. I'm beginning to see little bits, and I'm holding back and saying, right, let's go, let's get my feet back on the ground again. Be confident that next time I push in that direction, I've got a good shot of getting my feet back on the ground. That's what I need, instead of going at it haphazardly in a rush. So we were saying the coronavirus, yeah, it doesn't make sense for the government to put out well, it does make sense. It makes absolute sense in an empowered, conscious. We're far from that. For that reason, that perspective, it doesn't make sense, does it? Because if we're dealing with something that's as contagious as the common cold, the resources at your hand and the power of my mind is important. So it doesn't make sense for the government to put out the correct narrative. So I always question it. I want to be alert for myself. Forget conspiracies. I just want to be healthy and safe and have survival in check. And then if I can do good thereafter by, you know, sending out a video on the cure of the coronavirus, I'll do it. But that's not what I'm saying. The point is to be safe and secure ourselves. We've got this threat on the outside happening. And for ourselves, we need to know what's going on so we can position ourselves. One, so we don't suffer. So we don't suffer its detriment. And two, so we can be free around all of these restrictions that are being put in place. it's very daunting all of a sudden to be told you have to wear a face mask, isn't it? I'm not putting it as a problem. It's actually helpful to my mental health, so it's not a problem. But the mentality is, if I've got to take this, if I've got to put this face mask on, and I'm not mad like Andreas who accepts everything, as well, as long as it's for health, it's fine. Mentality. I can imagine how it would be difficult. It's a whole change of life, isn't it? It's see all the people in the streets all of a sudden wearing face masks because of a worldwide illness that's killing thousands. I think we're still at thousands of people. It's a joke, isn't it? When at the end of the coronavirus, a government will go to war, kill 1 million people. I appreciate that sort of number hasn't really been hit for a while in terms of war, but it's a joke, isn't it? How many years ago do we have to rewind before 1 million people were killed in a war? And this worldwide pandemic, I don't know if it's killed 1 million people. No, I think it must have if the UK's at 100,000, but the percentages are just unspeakable in terms of what's been. But we're on a steady patch for the last few years, aren't we? I mean, we've got Iraq was the last real stickety-stick problem. There was a new type of war, so I'm holding my breath that, well, it's either got so ridiculous that everyone's realised, oh, America top dogs, there's no point being idiots. Let's just give the bare minimum requirements for an army for NATO. Let's put it as we don't actively engage in outward offensive strategies like Japan used to, and I think Switzerland, and get a war in check. You know, just as long as there's no war, that's the main thing. It's not if there's armies or weapons, as long as no one's fucking killing each other, and that's reducing. So from that perspective, we're moving in the right direction as a species, but it's not every decade that we have a massive war, is it? So who knows what will happen in the next 5 years? That'll be 1 minute. Check. So anyway, that's the sort of logic that I've been applying, and as you can probably get a picture of it, I'm of that mindset anyway. I'm alone. I'm like, I think I watched too many of those Alaska programs where they're all alone in the cold and everything, and I could relate to it with my life a bit, and well, just taking that mentality on as a means of practicality, the survival mentality. I'm sorry. So with the coronavirus, I don't want to get into fucking conspiracies with it. It's too serious, I think. I don't know. It's like one of those things I can't handle the truth, because you need to keep it at a distance, isn't it? It's like the coronavirus pandemic happening in our face right now, the present moment. And to be truthful with ourselves that, well, it could be reptilian overlords collecting our DNA and genetic and extracting and extrapolating the human genome properly for the first time in its history to, God knows, achieve what pursuits. It's very daunting. That's the most serious of the conspiracies, but I can't rest in it. I can't look at it too much because it's hard to hear, it's hard to digest. I mean, I can say it, like that's the most plausible explanation in my head of what's going on with the coronavirus, but I can't really accept it. I haven't digested it. I haven't, on an experiential level of this world and this life, I can't hold it in my stomach as a reality. It's like I'm home at the moment. I've got heating, I've got air conditioning, I've got TVs, I've got internet. And that's one reality, yeah? And what I just said was, I'm in a prison, just like you are, with lots of entertainment that will keep me occupied within prison earth. For our slave masters who have just achieved a next level of mastery in their ability to control humanity, all the while we've got you know, the early stages of God knows anything as a result happening around us with the coronavirus, the lockdowns. You shut 7-8 billion people down. It's unheard of, but it's what's happening. To look at it from that perspective when I'm in this environment, it's near impossible. So what I'll have to do is just keep it to the back of my mind, live life. And as I live life, if the things support it more that it's true, start to give more energy to it. And if I continue life and, you know, something else, no, coronavirus, nothing to do with that. No, the alternative. But the truth is, what I do with my mental health, well, what I do with spirituality is just look at the world, and spirituality is a result of the spiritual ideas I have of the past, goes off in a direction. What I mean by that is, I look at the world and I've always got a spiritual mind to the world. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it is that guides it, but it goes off in directions. And it's been doing that with the coronavirus, and I've come up with lots of creative conspiracy ideas about the coronavirus, but none are really negative. Well, I mean, they're all negative, people are dying. But in relationship to what I just said as the most plausible truth, they're all a bit light-hearted. And that's what I was hoping to see if my memory would allow me to remember any of those ideas to share with you, just to keep it light-hearted as a plausibility. And the truth is, it may be that more than one idea are true in relationship to the coronavirus. So let's try and remember. I thought of a good one between men and women that basically put women as responsible for the coronavirus and men as the innocent bystanders. And I thought it'd be funny to share. You can see where I'm talking about depressing subject matter, really serious stuff, but due to spirituality and due to keeping an open mind, you know, the world is serious. The world deserves the label that out of all the weird and wacky coronavirus conspiracies I come up with, it deserves the most serious, most malicious one due to the world that we live in. That's reality, but we don't stop sharing the lighter possibilities. Let's think. So what I'll do instead of thinking about a specific conspiracy about it, what I'm going to do instead is start talking about it. And you'll see how easily, without any intention, without any ulterior motive, that I want to talk about this aspect of it or that aspect of it, it sort of can naturally take form of itself. So with the coronavirus, you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm going into this with an open mind. I haven't got any intentions about what the coronavirus is in terms of a conspiracy, other than what I stated before, that in all likelihood it's a conspiracy. Even if there's good intention, it doesn't make sense for the government to put out the truth on the agenda. Even if the world is full of love, it doesn't make sense, because, you know, disease is psychosomatic. So on that perspective, there's a conspiracy. Who knows how small? Who knows how big? That's my mentality going into this discussion now. So, the coronavirus. What do we know about it? We've got to wear face masks. We've got to wear face masks. It's meant to be airborne via saliva and water, but somehow there's been reports of hotels in Hong Kong, I think it was, where residents who are basically on lockdown all came down with the coronavirus. And I think there was another report that supported that, not that I remember, but that leads it to be more of an energetic virus or a consciousness virus. Oh yeah, so as I'm speaking, ideas are coming to me that I've thought of before to be able to share. It's just having the confidence to open up a discussion. That my mental health with imposter syndrome, where it really beats my confidence down, has made me a bit like apprehensive to share. But speaking just now, I realised that not speaking just now, I know that's what it is to do. So let's get back on track. I won't keep pulling us off track. And that is to say, right, the coronavirus. What do we know? It's possibly energetic, possibly a consciousness virus. Okay. Now, the direction I want to go off in is Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, in my head, was a planetary saviour. He did something for consciousness on the whole planet. And where he's done something in that regard for the whole planet, he also left it a bit unfinished. Same with Krishnamurti, the new planetary teacher. And the reason I say the coronavirus, right, what do we know about the coronavirus? First of all, Corona. Corona is linked to the Corona beer. Corona beer comes from Mexico. Mexico is the middle of the Americas. It's often the center, is referred to as the center. In terms of the chakra system, the solar plexus is the center point between up and down. The center point is yellow. So the coronavirus, for all intensive purposes, is yellow in color. Now, watching the collective psychosis, there's a thing with yellow and black. I don't know what it is. You're all part of the collective psychosis. You're more aware of the possibilities there than myself. But get this, in his final film, Bruce Lee, he shrunk. He was a big guy, Bruce Lee. I mean, he was muscular. I mean, he was tiny, but he was muscly and he had a big energy. And for that reason, you could tell he was a big guy. But in his final film, something Boss Man, The Big Boss Man, where he fought like a 7 foot tall basketball player who was black. I don't know the significance of that, but he was black. That comes up as relevant again. He wore this yellow suit. Everybody knows the yellow suit. The Oasis, the Japanese sports brand. And he wore that suit. And I think he died whilst he was making that film. And not only that, the suit, I don't know if he was intentionally trying to make himself look small, but the suit, he looked tiny in it. Obviously, there must have been some play on the... I'm just going to put the blender on 1 second. Almost done. Green smoothie time. So we were saying he made himself look tiny within the suit. He hid his physique. What, he either hid it because he wanted to make himself look small, or because he was ill and he was becoming small and he just wore the suit. But either way, that was what happened with Bruce Lee. And to my understanding, he died within that making of that film. He never finished it. And but they wrapped it up as a film and they put it out there. Now, Bruce Lee was a planetary saviour with his message for the world. I think what he did, he took consciousness to mind, because I mean, fighting was on the outside. Don't forget, I mean, he was the 70s when he copped it, I think. So it was the Vietnam War. It was a very outwards aggression. And the collective psychosis is all about fighting in the mind. That's what I've observed of you all. That's what I've observed of this thing, the collective psychosis. I know it's all a bit all over the place what I'm saying, but stay with me. I think we'll get to something that resembles a point. And he took fighting, because that's what he was. He was a martial artist. And he basically said, I will take on any martial artist on the planet and I will beat you down. You can break my spine by cheating and I'll still get back up and I'll stand here in front of you. How many years on? 30, 40 years on since his death? Nobody would really claim to be able to beat Bruce Lee, would they? That's unheard of. Sport, think about a sport. There's always progression. The quality of players now supersedes players, 10, 20 years ago. Because there's developments in the outside world. There's new technologies to use to improve your training. There's information comes out. Bruce Lee wouldn't have had the access to all the information on martial arts when he was about 50 years ago. He didn't have the fucking internet. He didn't have the internet. Think about all the modalities out there, all the analysis, all the data that's available nowadays, and we still can't stand up to say, yeah, I could take on Bruce Lee. Nobody. All right, there might be one or two, but for whatever reason, they're keeping themselves to themselves. But on the whole, you can imagine, nobody was as anal about being the best as him. And as a result, he killed it. He was like, I'm the best fucking human alive. I am the alpha male. And all the men went, shit. You see where I'm going with it? And basically, fighting was like, it doesn't make sense to keep it in physicality anymore. We'll bring it and we'll make it a mental thing. And that's what's happened. Fighting has gone to the mind. Fighting is now like, I don't like what you're doing, and it's all about consciousness. Like, why is he doing it? Why am I doing it? Blah, blah, blah. And you get wrapped up in your own two hemispheres of your brain, back and forth, fighting, like tennis. The new martial art is tennis. But my suspicion now is that what's taking place is as a result of Bruce back then, whatever he did in his life, and whatever that film happened, whatever happened in that film, whatever that symbolised. There's also another thing that sort of interlinks with this, and that is the what's it called? It's another like Chinese energy work system. There's Tai Chi, there's Qigong, there's Taoism, which is a form of more mental and physical approach, but there's also Falun Gong. Now, essentially, the difference between Falun Gong and Qigong is, and this is my understanding, with Qigong, you hold some tension in your body. So it's like, I place tension here in my chest, and I do this posture, and it activates these meridians, and I feel better. Falun Gong is a bit more like holding the postures, but there's no tension. It's almost like opening up yourself up to the universal flow. And it's almost like a surrendering. This is my understanding, a surrendering to the energy that's flowing through you in this posture. And when you surrender to it and you relax into it, there's an inverse tension almost. And that inverse tension gives you a lot of life force. Now, Falun Gong is all about yellow. The practitioner that teaches, he wears yellow. And I'm pretty sure that's interlinked as well. So we're looking at energy, really. I don't know how long a discussion. I want to keep going until I make it a believable conspiracy, because this is what's taking place, and I know this always hits believable in the past, and at the moment it's just like a bunch of ideas. So we'll keep going until we get a believable one, and we'll stop there. So I was sort of holding off from going into the next bit, diverging and expressing, but essentially with past lives there are 5 aspects of incarnation. To my understanding, I could be totally wrong, but this is what I've learned so far, or this is what I've been shown so far. There are 5 aspects of incarnation. And after every life, there'll essentially be 5 reincarnations. Or 4 or 5, because I don't know, I've not assessed this, but there's more than one reincarnation, because you have different aspects of yourself. You've got the emotional body, you've got the energy body, you've got the consciousness body, you've got the soul, you've got the physical body, you've got what alien heritage your incarnation, you know, connects back to. All of these things influence reincarnation, and it's 5 ways. So for Bruce Lee, he reincarnated 5 times. So there's 5 other Bruce Lees currently on the planet, likely that is. Or 5 people on the planet that shared in Bruce Lee's life, with one of them actually being his soul out of those reincarnations. Now the other aspect of that reincarnation is the emotional body. And to my understanding, the emotional body is basically the life in its entirety. So however much you compartmentalize life, an incarnation, the most real thing in all of it is the emotions. As a life boxed up, compartmentalized and packaged, the emotions are like purity all the way through.